Hey, in this video we are going to unbox PIXHAWK 2.4.8 flight controller. This is a safety switch which we have to connect to a switch port of our flight controller. This is buzzer and we have to connect this buzzer to a buzzer port of our flight controller. This is a female to female receiver connector cable for our PPM output. Means with this cable we have to connect our flight controller to the receiver. These are some double-sided tape which are provided to attach our flight controller. This is a power module and it can work up to a 6S LiPo battery. Means 6 cells repo battery. This is 4GB micro SD card which we have to attach to a SD card point of our flight controller. This is instruction manual which is provided here. It comes in a 2 languages. This is a radio link PIXHAWK 2.4.8 flight controller. This is the main board. This DSF port is provided to connect a special type of receiver called spectrum satellite receiver. However, we usually don't need this if we are making a beginner drone or a normal drone. This is buzzer port. Here we need to connect our buzzer which is provided with PIXHAWK flight controller. Serial 4x5 port contains 2 serial connection on a single port. Serial 4 is normally used for our second GPS and serial 5 is used for debug connection. Sometimes we use 2 GPS with a PIXHAWK flight controller, so we connect a second GPS pin in a serial 4x5 port. In the switch port, we need to connect the pin of our switch which we got with this flight controller. Means safety switch. In the telemetry second port, we connect our radio telemetry, whether it is FPV radio telemetry or our second radio telemetry, because the primary radio telemetry is connected in a telemetry 1 port. Telemetry 1 port is used to connect our main radio telemetry, or it can be a FPV radio telemetry. In the GPS port, we connect the GPS pin of our main GPS, means first GPS. If we are using second GPS, then it should be connected in serial 4x5. In the USB port, we connect a special type of USB which have its second connection towards our laptop or computer. But generally we use USB cable, so other port is provided to connect a USB cable, or if you have this special type of USB, you can connect this in the USB port. ADC 3.3 volt connector. This takes a max 3.3 volt. This can be used for sonar or other analog sensors. ADC 6.6 volt connector. It can be used for connecting our analog airspeed sensor. Since it can take max up to a 6.6 volt analog input, it can be also used for analog sonars and other analog sensors. But you need to remember here that you cannot use digital sensors here. CAN or controller area network is a wired network that can be used to connect different components such as ESCs or sensors to our flight controller. This is just like a simple port which can be used to connect a CAN supported sensors. SPI port is used to connect those sensors that support SPI data standards in the PIXHAWK flight controller. Example of some of these type of sensors are digital airspeed sensor, which are SPI. We connect a pin of power module to a power port of our flight controller to monitor the voltages and current of our battery. In the I2C pin, we connect our external compass which is attached in an external GPS. This is a forward direction of our flight controller or a nose of our flight controller. This is a multicolor LED which by blinking into a different colors give us some signal. In the main out of our flight controller, we have to connect our ESC pins. Means we can make up to a octocopter since there are 8 channels for main out. In the auxiliary out, we can connect our servos or sensors which are not used in a main components. Means we can connect a homemade gimbal, servo or any external sensor. In the RC input, we connect the receiver cable of our flight controller, which is then attached to a receiver. Our RC input supports only a PPM output. We have RSSI output and S-bus output, which are also a different type of receiver output or a data standard. Here negative symbol mentions the negative and a positive symbol mentions a positive, and a symbol of signal represents the signal pins. Means in this manner you have to attach your pins. This is input output reset button for our flight controller. This is micro USB port which is B type. This is flight management reset button. And this is the port where we have to attach our SD card, because our SD card saves the telemetry logs of our flight controller. We use M810 GPS with PIXHAWK flight controller. Here I am using Relative Sky GPS. You can also use Radio Link GPS. Thank you.